podcast. So great to be along with you. They are running scared. They are lawyering up. They are deleting tweets. I'm talking about the Russian collusion hoaxsters, the co-conspirators in all of this, the criminals who perpetrated maybe one of the greatest crimes ever committed in an effort to take down the United States of America. Thank God they were not successful. But now you have Peter Strzok. Remember the Lovebirds, Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, deleting tweets. You go back and you can see on his Twitter page that his tweets are now totally deleted. This is his page. Now, this guy was outspoken about his hatred for President Trump. He was outspoken about how Trump was a criminal. He was outspoken about how the Russian collusion nonsense was all legitimate. It wasn't. And yet he's still going out there and speaking out about this stuff. But why did he delete the tweets? Why has, we assume, he lawyered up? We know that all the others have lawyers now, Brennan and Comey and Clapper. They are all now getting attorneys in place to defend them for what could be indictments coming. If John Ratcliffe is right about this, and I hope he is, we will see indictments. Again, I will tell you, I'm skeptical, but hopeful. And that is a true story. All right, we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about the New York shooting and the anti-gun war on gun owners going on and using that New York shooting for that. And Cincinnati. Holy cow, this police chief in Cincinnati, how out of line is she? Blaming all of you, by the way, for what happened in Cincinnati. Yes, it's true. I will get to that on the program. Before we do, though, let me remind you about my friends over at Colonial Metals Group. We know that China is buying precious metals, gold specifically, at a furious pace. We know that most central banks across the globe are buying gold. Why? Because there is an active war on the U.S. dollar. When the dollar is weakened, which it is right now, gold goes up, which we're seeing. And in fact, we've seen a steady rise of gold over the last century. The reason being is as chaos increases, gold is a safe haven for money. I don't see chaos going away, even with President Trump in office. I don't see us getting our debt completely under control, even with President Trump in office. So all of this makes gold a portfolio protection maneuver you ought to think about. Colonial Metals Group, freegoldguide.com/grant. It's where I invest my money with Colonial Metals, freegoldguide.com/grant. Colonial Metals Group can help you, 800-458-7356, or use the QR code up in the corner of your screen. All right, with that, folks, let's get Stinchfield started.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right, welcome. So I think the big news is that Peter Strzok, the former FBI agent, fired in disgrace, the one who said he had a game plan to push back against Trump, the insurance plan if President Trump was elected into office, he's deleted all his tweets. That on your screen right there is what his X account looks like now. Nothing on it. This is in preparation of the investigations that are most surely underway into him. We had an FBI agent who was very close to Peter Strzok, who also has been fired. According to that FBI agent, Dan Bongino says, hey, you're out. Whether that's the reason or not sure. Lisa Page, concerned about all this. That's the lovebird in the Strzok lovebirds. And then you've got all the other players who have lawyered up. And I can go through a list of the Russian collusion hoaxsters. Okay, that's what we're calling them. You've got Strzok and Page. Both apparently have legal protection in place. Comey, expected to re-engage legal defense, especially if new charges emerge. Andrew McCabe hired attorneys during the DOJ Inspector General investigation. He continues to appear on CNN. John Brennan, the former CIA director, known to have retained legal counsel during the Durham investigation. We imagine that legal counsel is still in place. Clapper, former director of national intelligence for Obama, he quietly sought legal protection as the declassified documents contradicted his entire media narrative. You got Kevin Kleinsmith, former FBI lawyer, Fusion GPS folks involved have invoked the Fifth Amendment during testimony, lawyers sitting next to them. Of course, Christopher Steele being sued by Russian businessmen in targeted defamation cases. He was the author of the discredited dossier. All of these appear to, if not have already retained legal counsel, in the process of retaining legal counsel. That makes a lot of sense in my mind for them, because let's hope the wrath is coming. This was testimony recently of John Kennedy, Senator Kennedy, talking to our buddy Kash Patel, the FBI director.
You remember Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, don't you?
Yes, Senator.
Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI. Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI. I think Ms. Page worked for Justice. The Inspector General found in its investigation that they hated President Trump, and they really wanted Secretary Clinton to win. Is that true?
That's correct, sir.
And this would be the same same Ms. Page who sent an email to Mr. Strzok with whom she was having an affair. Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Right? And Mr. Strzok, with the FBI, senior official at the FBI replied, quote, no, he won't. We'll stop it. Did I read that correctly?
You did, Senator.
Okay. Now, Ms. Page got quit before she could get fired. Mr. Strzok was fired. And predictably, they filed a lawsuit because in Washington, it's easier to divorce your spouse than it is to fire a federal employee. Why did the FBI give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 to settle a lawsuit?
Senator, I do not know that settlement was reached in the prior administration.
Who made the decision?
The prior Department of Justice.
Who in the prior Department of Justice?
The settlement for that kind of case can only come from the Attorney General, which would be Attorney General Merrick Garland.
So the Attorney General decided to give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 after they were fired after actively interfering in the 2016 election. Is that right?
My understanding is that was a settlement they agreed to.
Pass me the sick bucket, please.
Well, isn't that a great final comment? Pass me the sick bucket, because I'm about to toss you know what. $800,000, $1 million throwing around this money. They were fired for basically wrongdoing. This is an outrage. That's your and my taxpayer dollars going to the lovebirds? You've got to be kidding me. Well, President Trump sat down with Miranda Devine. She's been instrumental in covering this stuff. She's with the New York Post. She was probably the first to figure out the Hunter Biden laptop stuff. She's exposed the Russian collusion hoax long before we got these documents that only confirmed what we already knew and had been telling you for many years.
What they've done is so bad for this country. And it really started right at the 2016 election. And there's a difference when you know it and when you know it and it's all written down for
Prove
you.
it.
I mean, it's all there. It's right there. The orders, the memos, the whole thing is right there.
Were you surprised when you saw it all laid out?
I would have thought they maybe would have thrown it out. I don't know. They handed it. They say, put this in highly classified. It was in highly classified, in areas that normally you wouldn't get to. But I guess when you put it in there, it's a file, right? And
So I'm with President Trump. I thought a lot of this stuff would be destroyed, and I still think there's a lot destroyed, including in the Epstein case, destroyed. I also think maybe things weren't as collected as much as they wanted to. They were smart about not putting things in writings and emails and those kinds of things. But John Brennan's handwritten notes, remember, they were instrumental in spelling out Obama's involvement in ordering that alternative assessment. John Brennan said to Congress he didn't use the Steele dossier. We later find out in these released documents that he did use the Steele dossier in the assessment that said Trump campaign was colluding with Russia. So that's lying to Congress. That's a crime in and of itself, not to mention the conspiracy to overthrow the government. But so this is in John Brennan's handwritten notes. Do you know to this day, Much of his handwritten notes are redacted. What's been released has big black boxes over all that. Why is it redacted? This is years ago, almost 10 years ago now. We should be able to see the entire handwritten note of John Brennan.
They got to it, and it's unbelievable. When you read it, it's unbelievable. A real hoax, it's a real hoax. If they would devote their time to winning elections, or if they devote their time to greatness, making America great again, it would be because there's a certain genius to it, but it's also sick. I mean, they're sick. And you look at Hillary Clinton, you look at all of the terrible things with the Steele dossier, and you know it better. Nobody's covered it better than you, to be honest with you. I mean, you're sitting here so innocently talking to me like, I said, it's wonderful. You know the story better than I do.
Well, Miranda Devine does. She probably is one of the foremost experts on all of this. You could throw John Solomon in there of Just the News. But remember, Lisa Page was the key player in a lot of this as far as the text messages that started us to believe there was a conspiracy where, hey, the insurance plan. Well, Lisa Page went on with Rachel Maddow, and I pulled that. Now, this is going back. It's a flashback. But Rachel Maddow actually questions her about this stuff. I want you to really assess whether she's telling the truth here or not.
In terms of the text messages and the allegations that have been made against you, you've sort of explained yourself in putting those text messages in greater context in terms of what they meant and the way they were used against you. Can you explain to us tonight what was meant by, for example, the insurance policy text message? So this is you and Peter Strzok texting about the prospect that President Trump is going to be elected, the unlikely prospect.
Right. I mean, it's an analogy. First of all, it's not my text, so I'm sort of interpreting what I believe he meant back 3 years ago. But we're using an analogy. We're talking about whether or not we should take certain investigative steps or not based on the likelihood that he's going to be president or not, right? You have to keep in mind, if President Trump doesn't become president, the national security risk, if there is somebody in his campaign associated with Russia, plummets.
But there was nobody associated with his campaign and Russia. And you knew that. And you're not telling Rachel Maddow that now. But now we're learning that they knew it all. Now, I guess Lisa Page could make the claim that, hey, we were given the Steele dossier as if it was real. We didn't know it was fake. My assumption is that's what Stork and Page will say about the Steele dossier at the time. But anybody that reads it, when I looked at parts of it, I said, come on, nobody's going to believe this.
You're not so worried about what Russia's doing vis-a-vis a member of his campaign if he's not president, because you're not going to have access to classified information. You're not going to have access to sources and methods in our national security apparatus. So the insurance policy was an analogy. It's like an insurance policy when you're 40. You don't expect to die when you're 40, yet you still have an insurance policy.
That's not answering the question. We're the insurance policy, meaning they're going to go after President Trump and make sure he's taken out, impeached, whatever it might be. That analogy is not an analogy. And so I sense deceit here.
So don't just hope that he's not going to be elected and therefore not press forward with the investigation hoping, but rather press forward with the investigation just in case he does get in there.
Exactly.
What about the text message that in which you and Strzok were talking about your sort of fear that Trump would be elected, and he said, no, we won't let it happen?
I mean, by we, he's talking about the collective we, like-minded, thoughtful, sensible people who were not going to vote this person into office. You know, obviously, in retrospect, do I wish he hadn't sent it? Yes. It's been mutilated to death, and it's been used to bludgeon an institution I love, and it's meant that I've disappointed countless people. But this is a snapshot in time, carrying on a conversation that had happened earlier in the day that reflected a broad sense of he's not going to be president. We, the democratic people of this country, are not going to let it happen.
No, it was we, the FBI agents, the Gestapo, the goons tasked by Obama to stop him, are going to stop him. That's what that was about. And we know that, they know that, and Rachel Maddow won't press her that far on it. But President Trump knows that. We all know it.
But it's incredible. It's all there now. It's in writing. And Tulsi's done a great job. You know, there were some people that really wanted Tulsi. They thought she was going to do a fantastic job. And when you look, a lot of people would not have found it. They wouldn't have found it to be politically correct to find it. Okay. It would be easier not to.
And she's tough.
And she's tough and she's smart. And she did. She went deep into the files and she found it. And, what it says is just terrible. And look, this was, an attempted coup. It was a failed coup. I mean, here we are, him talking as president of the United States. So you almost say, how did it happen?
Thank God they failed. Can you imagine where we would be today if they didn't fail? My Lord, would be in some real hurt because President Trump is doing amazing things, getting this country back on track, making America great again, keeping our enemies in check, getting our economy rolling, making Americans feel good about their country again, making our military feel good about the military again. And, of course, our enemies fear us. That's the best. All right, folks, I want to tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. I've got a Patriot Mobile phone. This is one phone, but I got two lines on this phone thanks to my friends at Patriot Mobile. You can choose what network you want to be on. So you got AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile. You choose. And I've got two networks on one phone. So if I'm in one city and the signal isn't great, I got another signal there that'll work. That's fabulous. Not to mention 100% U.S.-based customer service. Not to mention Patriot Mobile believes in the values America was founded on. And they put their money where their mouth is. They are backing First Amendment groups, Second Amendment groups, Right to Life groups, veterans groups, you name it. Patriot Mobile will take a portion of the money they get from you and put it towards causes that help America. So why would you be funding the woke agenda of the left by going to the big three cell phone companies when you could be with Patriot Mobile? Here's what I want you to do. Go to patriotmobile.com/Grant. That's patriotmobile.com/Grant. Use the promo code GRANT for a free month's service, or just call them at 972-PATRIOT, 972-PATRIOT, and make the switch today. So now I want to talk about Cincinnati. Boy, I'll tell you what, this was interesting to say the least, this all-out brawl that happened in Cincinnati. I got to make sure the audio is good on this. But this all-out brawl that happened in Cincinnati was crazy. Let me play it for you.
Sleeping again. Ooh, ooh, ooh,
that is a gentleman flat cold cocked, folks. Black folks going around Cincinnati. I know you've heard the story now. And then he's literally dragged into the street where he's beaten.
Sleeping again. Ooh, 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 ooh.
What is going on there? Right? Then you've got this situation. They are stomping this guy. Now, he started the fight. He gave a little slapperoo to one of the men there, but he didn't deserve this. And only one person called 911. One. This is how it all started.
Group C Alabama brawl. Don't you know this never works out? Especially, and then you're going to play the victim. That's what I don't like about this whole situation, though. I've been seeing all these videos of the aftermath of what happened, but nobody sees what started it.
The guy in the black
These
pants
guys
there
are
is going to
clearly
slap this
outmatched,
one guy.
outnumbered, but this one white boy, there's always one that thinks that he can. The one who started the fight. If you throw the first punch,
here we go.
You started. So let's watch here. Who throws the first punch? One. First punch. You see it clearly. Everything was cool. And then,
is that a punch? I don't think that's a punch, folks. I think that's a little slap. Very disrespectful. You're probably going to get hit back, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you this from a perspective of personal protection. Do not engage with a mob like this. And I think this mob was out for blood. I do think it was racially motivated. I do think you had a mob of black folks who were looking to attack white folks in Cincinnati. No matter what authorities tell you, my eyes see the story play out. But if you're a white guy there and you're surrounded by an angry mob, and you've got a girlfriend there or a wife, which it appears he did, you cannot engage like this. You have to de-escalate. You've got to not try to fight unless it's life and death and last case scenario where now you're fighting for your life. You've got to move out of there and retreat. Every Navy SEAL will tell you if you don't have tactical advantage, you must retreat, okay? Because the goal is to stay alive. It's not to win. It's not to look like a man. The goal is to stay alive. And sometimes the most manly thing you can do to keep you and your wife or your kids or your girlfriend safe is maybe in the eyes of the aggressor, you may look weak, but you got everybody out of there alive. You're a man, okay? Only to the point where your life or bodily harm is in danger to those, do you escalate it? Because it just isn't worth it. Because we saw what happened. Now, instead of blaming the attackers, right, what do you think the police chief does? This woman's a piece of work.
I, like many, woke up Saturday morning to the video. The incident occurred. We got our first call at 3:06 a.m. First officers were on the scene at 3:12 a.m.
All right, first off, do you not have a problem with that? Every business owner in that downtown area of Cincinnati says, hey, we got these problems. The club's let out, and it's mass chaos. It took you 6 minutes to get there. Oh, she says, oh, there was traffic. The streets were crowded. You should have a cop on every corner in downtown Cincinnati.
Based on the body cam footage that I've watched, that response time is completely acceptable because the downtown area still had traffic congestion from all of the events.
Give me a break. Give me an absolute break. You don't get a pass because there's traffic and the cops can't get there. You got to have the cops pre-deployed. You had people getting the you-know-what beat out of them. They could have died. And in fact, the woman who got cold cock, whose eyes went wide open, my Lord. And no cops around. Only one person calls 911.
Upon arrival, the fight was over with. The fight was over with when the officers arrived. And the majority of the participants were gone. The officers did exactly what they are trained to do. They gathered information from the victims that were still at the scene to complete an offense report.
Oh, watch this, though. This is the girl who appears to be with the first victim. Woman comes over, and she goes out. That would scare any mom to see their daughter flat out cold, unconscious, on the pavement, blood running out of your mouth. You think you're dead. So now I'm going to say to her boyfriend, if that is her boyfriend, that got in the fight the first time, you feel like a big man now? Or would it have been better to take her hand, tell them I don't want any trouble, and get on out of there? That would have been the best course of action. But that's not what they did. Now, more from the police chief.
I will tell you, at this time, we have victims and suspects identified, and we have charged 5 people in this offense. I'm not going to release that information to you. I will say, if individuals were down there and participated in this event, it would be in their best interest to come turn themselves in at one of our police districts. We have 5 we have charged and anticipate more. Let me be clear. Anyone who put their hands on another individual during this incident in an attempt to cause harm will face consequences. I don't care which side of the incident or the fight they were on.
So you see what she's saying? She's placating the minority left. saying the guy that was involved because he slapped the face of the first guy, that maybe he deserved to be dragged out in the street and beaten. So he'll probably be charged too. You wait, you're going to see charges against that guy. It's sad. And we don't know how what led up to that point. But the bottom line here is the people that need to be held responsible are the ones that jumped in, that didn't call police, that stomped the guy's head, that knock out a woman cold, that go to an older gentleman walking down the street, cold cock him and knock him out. Those people need to be held accountable. And they need to be held responsible for their actions.
They place their hands on somebody in an attempt to cause harm. That is unacceptable. This is still an open investigation, and all potential charges are being investigated for everyone involved.
So, the guy that hit the woman and knocked her out, apparently, at least the guy that's accused of it, apparently he was indicted July 10th for receiving stolen property, weapons under disability, improper transportation of a firearm, and other charges, whatever the hell that means. But he was let out on a $400 bond. That's the justice system in every blue city in America today, not just Cincinnati. And yes, Cincinnati is a blue city.
All investigative tools and techniques come forward and provided us with information. Some of those tips have led to the charges being signed.
All right, great. Now, what do you think she does? You think she's going to make them take responsibility, these people? No. She's not going to make them take responsibility. She's going to blame others for their actions. It has to be somebody else's fault. This is the liberal mentality that those who are oppressed, and that's every minority out there, whether you're here illegally, whether you're black, whether you're Hispanic, you're oppressed. And you get a free pass because society is rough on you. And you can't be held responsible for your actions because you didn't grow up in a great place and no one taught you how to act. So we're going to give you grace in all of this. What do you think the criminals do, getting grace in all of this? The criminals say, you know what? We're going to go hog wild. She blamed bar owners for over-serving them, this police chief. She wanted to hold responsible pub owners for the alcohol. Isn't it the culprit's responsibility for drinking too much alcohol, not the bar owner? And then there's this.
Another topic I want to cover real quick. Social media and journalism and the role it plays in this incident. And yes, guys, that's you. That is you. Social media, the post that we've seen, does not depict the entire incident.
See what she is? She's angry about social media and that this went viral and it makes her look bad and it makes the city look bad. Well, every downtown business owner says, yes, this is the situation on a Saturday night. This was a jazz festival, people coming in. I wouldn't send my kids downtown Cincinnati, just as I don't want my kids in downtown Dallas at 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Why? Because there's lawlessness in blue cities.
That is one version of what occurred. At times, social media and mainstream media and their commentaries are a misrepresentation of the circumstances surrounding any given event. What that does, that causes us some difficulties in thoroughly investigating the activity and enforcing the law. Because what happens, that social media post and your coverage of it distorts the content of what actually happened.
No, it doesn't distort any content of what actually happened. You've got to go back and you find as many posts as you can and you look for things. That's what I did. Before I went on and just said, oh, they beat up white people, I went on and I found, and I showed it on the Real America's Voice show, the guy slap in the face of the black guy first. I have no problem giving you facts, but what unfolded after that is absolutely inexcusable. And this is inexcusable because what she's saying is she doesn't want you to have free speech. She doesn't want the media to be free. She doesn't want you to take cell phone video of things going down on her streets that she should have been able to stop long before it happened. So she wants cover. If she had it her way, she'd probably take away all your cell phones after midnight in downtown Cincinnati.
And it makes our job more difficult. Go ahead, right here.
Thank you. 2 questions. Where were the nearest officers?
In the central business section. They were working. They were both in vehicles, and like I said, they had to maneuver through the traffic.
My second question is, you had said social media, news media distorted the content of what actually happened. What exactly was distorted? I understand that there was multiple views of the video, but exactly what led up to this? I mean, what was distorted?
Yeah, so I think by the irresponsibility with social media is it just shows one side of the equation quite frequently without context, without factual context. And then people run with that. And then it grows legs and it becomes something bigger that we then have to try to manage as part of the...
No, you don't have to try to manage anything. Okay? Social media, though I agree it may be the downfall of society, but we have a right to tape things, post things on social media. I don't want them censored. It's my job to find out what's true and what's not true. But my eyes can also tell the story. Or my eyes can also see the story and interpret the story for what it is, providing I get many looks, because it is true you see one video may not tell the rest of the story or how it started, or you take a snippet, but that's for us to find out. It doesn't mean police have to come after social media. And that's what she's really pushing for, that. It's censorship. That's a left-wing police chief. And you just look at her. No makeup, overweight, not taking care of herself. It's a typical liberal leftist woman. I'm sorry if that sounds sexist, but it only sounds sexist towards leftist women. But they all look the same, including that police chief. And it is a shame. So we shall see what happens. I do have some hope out of all of this. This is a gentleman who was speaking out about it, and he's in Cincinnati.
What's up, family? Once again, it's Brother Dre with Curse Breakers 300. Let's get right down to it. I'm going right to the facts, man. People been sending me the whole video of the execution beat down downtown at the music fest on the streets. A damn shame. White people, I'm going to just tell you right now, man. You better learn how to defend yourself. People got beat down. And I'm going to say it like this to those suckers jumping that old man. I don't care what he said. Y'all some suckers. Y'all some chumps. Beating down that old man like he was nothing. You had females jumping in. Then the white lady got straight blasted by a dude, punched her dead in her face. And guess what? No police anywhere. Now I'm saying if it's my family getting beat down like that, whoo, man, I'm going to have to pray about this one, bro.
So there is some common sense in Cincinnati. I'm happy to say. Because when you looked at all the video of everything going down, nobody calling 911, folks. Everybody on their phone, filming, taping, but nobody calling 911. Nobody. That's a shame. A damn shame, as that gentleman said. And then, of course, you've got this shooting in New York. The media, again, gets it all wrong when it comes to guns. We'll talk about that here in a second. But before we do, folks, now's the time to get healthy. Summer is right in the swing of things. It's not too late to get healthy for summer. You can do it through Energized Health. Energized Health Protocol changed my life. Mind, Body, Soul program that had me losing 15 pounds in 2 weeks. I know people that have lost over 200 pounds on the Energized Health Protocol with no drugs, no fancy diets or hard diets, no crazy ass workouts, just literally getting hydrated at a cellular level. You lose the weight, you hydrate your cells, joint pain goes away, brain fog goes away. That visceral fat around your organs starts to melt away. Your life, your energy comes back. This is what intracellular hydration can do for you. Go to the energizedhealth.com website, energizedhealth.com. Watch the testimonials. There are hundreds. Find somebody that's like your age. You know, if you're a dude and you're a little overweight, find somebody who looks like you. Listen to their testimonial. See how it went. There's hundreds of them on there. They got a 99% success rate, okay, and a 100% money-back guarantee. Energizedhealth.com. There's a master class on there that help you learn about intracellular hydration as well. Go there, do it today, change your life. Energizedhealth.com. That's energizedhealth.com. All right, so we know the shooter in New York was black. We've got pictures of the shooter of New York is black. But then we see this on CNN.
And do you know, John, at this point, when he came in, the way you described him, walking across the plaza all in black, but with a long gun visible, so it sounded like he, other than the long gun, which is not a simple thing to say other than in New York City, right? People don't walk around with guns like that. But was his face visible? I mean, do they have any idea at this point who he is?
They do not know who he is. They know he is a male, possibly white. He's wearing sunglasses. He appears to have a mustache. And that picture has been distributed to every police officer in New York City, particularly has been sent to the phones of the search teams inside that building, because whenever they encounter a group of people, the first thing they have to figure out is that individual among these people hiding among victims, folks, or pretending to be an office worker.
Did you hear what he said? Possibly white.
A male, possibly white. He's wearing sunglasses. He appears to have a mustache.
So the police were going off of this photo. Mustache, wearing sunglasses. Does that look possibly white to you? We now have closer up pictures. The suspect is black. Now, why do you think the mainstream media wants to paint him as a white guy right off the bat? Because they are desperate to have a red hat wearing, Make America Great Again conservative go into 345 Park Avenue, shoot the place up, kill a cop, and then they can say, you see, MAGA is so violent. Just as I would prefer, well, I don't want any mass shootings, and I would prefer that we have armed good guys everywhere to stop them. But if there's a mass shooting, I'd rather it be their side than my side. And that's typically been what's happening. You have these transgender, radical leftists that are shooting places up. Both sides are disappointed in this case because apparently this guy wasn't political. He was complaining about CTE, the head injury that's affected so many NFL players. He was trying to get to the NFL, apparently, gets on the wrong elevator bank after killing the cop in the lobby. And what a hero that cop is. He's just killed in cold blood. Goes up to the 33rd floor, kills 4 more people, and never gets to the NFL. He did injure one NFL employee, I think, who's still struggling to stay alive. But again, you get the mainstream media telling you this is a white guy. No, it's not. And then the war on guns starts. You get Mayor Eric Adams out there doing what? Telling us that the suspect had an automatic weapon, a machine gun. Wrong.
But it's just a real unfortunate situation. The suspect walked into the building 345 Park Avenue carrying in his right hand an automatic weapon, immediately discharged rounds, shot a police officer.
It's not an automatic weapon. And, you know, words matter right now because with the war on guns, you're going to have leftists walking around saying people are around America walking around with machine guns killing people. Now, Eric Adams, you were a police officer. And I think, look, I love New York City cops. At one point, I thought they were the best police department on the face of the planet. I actually don't think that anymore. I thought L.A. was second best. I don't think that anymore, sadly, because of leadership, not so much because of the officers. But New York City cops, I think it's a Northeast thing. There's just not a lot of people with a real knowledge of guns. And I'm not even sure how much knowledge the cops themselves have of guns. I'm not sure how much training they go through with these guns. Because Eric Adams, you ought to know. What he was carrying was an AR-15. Now, it was a Palmetto State Armory AR-15. They call that a PA-15, but it's just a marketing term for an AR-15. All right? And so then you had the police commissioner saying that he walked in with an M4. Well, an M4 is an automatic weapon, not an AR-15, and he didn't walk in with an M4. So that's bad. So now you got the misinformation and disinformation coming from every single direction you can imagine. And who does CNN run to but the anti-gun left? People like the former mayor, one of the biggest idiots on the face of the planet, Bill de Blasio.
I think we should be honest, Laura, that people are feeling less and less secure in general in our society. It's a very troubling time.
It is.
I mean, you have so many voices saying extreme and dangerous things that doesn't help on all sides. And then on top of it, just way too many weapons around and very little that stops someone from getting a weapon. I mean, this is a deeply troubling situation.
You know how you stop people? You have more good guys with guns. If in New York City you were allowed to carry a firearm with a concealed carry permit, law-abiding citizen, a man who's or woman who's trained in the use of a firearm, that wants to protect himself and others around him, wouldn't everybody be safer? The answer, of course, is yes. Everyone in the room is safer if there's a law-abiding gun owner and trained in the use of his firearm. Everybody. More good guys with guns will stop this from happening. But they want to paint this picture. Gun control laws will do it. Gun control laws, what do we got? Gun control laws. We had AR-15 bans in New York City. That got broken. We had gun-free zones in New York City at 345 Park. That got broken. The background checks apparently didn't work because he used his concealed handgun license out of Nevada to get a gun. They went through a background check for that. That didn't work. He broke every gun law on the books. Magazine capacity laws. He had a magazine was a higher capacity than New York allows. Criminals break laws. It's why they call them criminals.
I keep wondering when it will be the incident that finally tells people we have to change something. But what you read or what we heard there, you know, the idea that there's a whole generation that came up preparing for school shootings.
Yeah.
And now is experiencing office shootings. I mean, this is not a sustainable way for our society to progress. What does it do to people's psyche? Those folks, not just in that building, everyone who goes into a building in Midtown tomorrow is going to be worried.
Well, I'm worried everywhere I go. It's why I carry a firearm everywhere I go. And then lo and behold, guess what? For some reason, I'm not worried anymore. Every now and then I forget to take my firearm with me, whether I'm in gym clothes or something, or running out of the house and I forget my gun. And every time I'm driving down the street without my firearm, I'm like, oh, please, I pray this is not the day I need my gun when I don't have it, which is why I try to carry it all the time. And when I have it, there's really not a place that I feel scared in. I can go just about anywhere. Why? I'm well trained. I'm not the best shooter out there in the world, and I'm certainly no Navy SEAL. But I've been trained by some of them, and I practice a lot, and I know personal protection. I know tactics, and I feel good about my tactical advantage over an untrained criminal. Hence, I don't feel nervous when I'm carrying my firearm. You want to rest people's fears, have them put them aside, get more good guys with guns around. That'll do it. I promise you. All right, folks. Let me tell you about the wellness company. TWC.health/Grant. That's TWC.health/Grant. StinchfieldHealth.com/Grant. Use the promo code GRANT for 10% off. These guys are great. Prescription medications you need to keep you and your family safe. Ivermectin in here, Z-Pak in here, amoxicillin in here, and a whole host of other antibiotics and antivirals. Now, I am also on the Parasite Cleanse. This is going fabulous. Parasites are responsible for brain fog, skin issues, digestive problems. I was experiencing a bunch of those things. So I got on the Parasite Cleanse, mebendazole and ivermectin, twc.health/Grant. Use the promo code GRANT for 10% off. This is working. I can feel the difference as I go through this course of the Parasite Cleanse. And I'm cleaning my body out. I don't want worms in my body. You remember this? Look, I keep showing you this because it's just absolutely disgusting. This is in a grocery store shot of worms in the salmon. It's disgusting. You have pets, you probably have parasites, 60 million of them. twc.health/Grant. Use that promo code GRANT for 10% off. Folks, that is going to do it for us today. I so appreciate you watching. Do not forget my website, GrantStinchfield.com. That's GrantStinchfield.com. Stinchfield 1776 on all the social media platforms. Like and share the video if you will for me, please. We will see you on the Real America's Voice show tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And I appreciate you watching, everybody. Thank you. Stinchfield's Army rolls.